and then I'll go live on Instagram in 1 sec.
Okay.
Guys, we're getting ready to do an enlightened conversation here with awesome human Victoria. You're up in Toronto, yeah?
I am.
Awesome.
Go Raps.
All right, this is going to be. Do you follow basketball, or are you gonna? Well, everybody in Toronto did when you guys are winning the championship.
Suddenly I'm on the bandwagon. I'm like been in Toronto for 6 months. I'm like, fuck yeah, go Raps.
If you live there, you always are welcome on the bandwagon. For those everywhere else,
no one knows any different.
yeah.
I love that.
It will be. I'm very happy, like so many others. Like really, I don't turn my TV on much at all, but for live sports, I do. I love watching anything live where people are like, so much is like on the line for them, like their whole like lifetime dream is on the line in the moment.
100%. I actually don't really watch sports much myself, but when it comes to something like that, especially basketball, I'm in. Football too.
Yeah, I'm excited for all of it. Okay, so I'm live on Instagram now. You can join me when you are ready. And you guys will be able to hear Victoria once we're on Instagram. They can't hear you right now. They can only hear me because you're in my headphones. But they will hear you in a second. And then as soon as we're on Instagram together, I'm going to just mute my computer.
Same. I sent you the request.
Got it. Okay, so Instagram does this to me every once in a while. There's so many people that... Hey, hello, Instagram world. I'm getting ready to go off of this and come back on because I don't know if this happens to any of you guys, but sometimes Instagram doesn't give me the keypad at the bottom. It just doesn't exist. So I can't tag Victoria in this. So I'm gonna redo this, and we're gonna come right back.
We're back. It's so funny. We were just talking about in the moment.
Right.
Just like. We were just talking about like with basketball in the moment. This is that.
Okay, I'm back on live now. Must be a glitch. Must be a glitch. So I'm gonna have you leave a comment and say. Noel's keypad isn't working, so he asked me to tag myself and ask questions if you're inspired. Because I can, I'm going to bring you on right now, but I can.
You can't use it, eh?
My keypad, it doesn't exist. This happens a lot of times when I'm doing stories, like there's no keypad. So I'll just restart the app and then, so all good. Okay, so we're good there. I'm going to mute on here, so now I can just hear you on my phone. And then if you can you just put your just put ask questions if inspired. They're already going to see your what am I looking for? Your title from that. Cool. I'm going to pin that. Sweet. Awesome. Easy peasy. May do that all the time. That's actually easier than me writing it all out.
There you go.
Okay, so you can hear me good coming out of your phone?
Yeah, you good?
Awesome, I'm good. All right, gonna hit record on here and we will begin. All right, hello everybody. Oh wait, Victoria, unmute your, there you go, on Zoom. And then you don't have any sound coming out of your computer right now? Awesome. Okay, yeah, you're good. Sweet. All right, hello everybody. I hear an echo in the background. What am I hearing? You hear one too?
Yeah.
Hearing myself echo. That's coming from, so the only let me just make sure it's not me. So the only sound that you hear is coming from your phone, right?
Not anymore. Now you're back.
Okay. So you hear me on your computer only? Let's try this. Let's turn our volume down all the way down on our phones. They'll still hear us normally, but we won't. And then we'll join. Let's talk on the computer sound.
Okay.
Okay, let's see how the echo is on there. I think we're good now. Yeah,
Better?
yeah, I think we're good. I just didn't want to add any echo. You guys won't experience this on Instagram or any of these other places, but I want you guys to be able to hear all this perfectly. So,
I think that's good.
yeah. Okay, so for you guys on streaming, I'm going to do this. Play with us on Zoom for you guys on Instagram if I keep hearing an echo because it's not going to record. Good.
Thank you. Yeah, it says it's still echoing. I know. I wonder what it is. What if I took out my my speaker?
Let's try one more time. Let's raise the volume on our phone, and then let's mute our computer sound again, and let's see what that does.
All right. Okay, let's see. Thanks, Monica.
All right.
See, I can hear it over here.
So now you have what are we doing? You have sound coming out of your computer. That's why it's doing that.
I do.
So hit your mute button at the top of your computer, not on the Zoom. The little button on the top right of your computer.
My computer.
Yeah.
Oh, I think.
You know how you can raise
On
your
the top right?
yeah. You know on your keyboard on your laptop how you have the volume up, volume down, and the mute right next to each other on the top right.
Oh, yep. Maybe.
Okay. Now unmute your Zoom, and then we should be good. Now unmute your Zoom, and we should be. There we go.
Boom.
Okay, echo's gone. That was it. So you had that going the whole time.
That's 21st century, but
No worries.
you'd think that I was a millennial, but
I love it. No, we're good now. Okay.
okay, that's good.
Sweet. Plug my headphones back in, and then we shall begin. Thank you for your patience, everyone, and thank you for playing with me, Victoria, with all this technology. Not everybody is willing to.
No, I appreciate you.
Not everybody. I told Victoria, not everybody is willing to do all this with me.
I got you.
Have an awesome, very patient guest with me, Victoria Pippo, who is up in Toronto, Canada, and really excited to vibe with her. I came across her Instagram page just maybe a few days, maybe a week, maybe a week and a half ago, not too long ago, and reached out to her and said I love the light she was sharing with her audience, and asked her if she wanted to have a fun conversation with me, and here we are today. Victoria is a energy healer, and just helping people remember who they truly are, and is on an awesome journey there north of the U.S. border in Toronto, which is an awesome city. So without further ado for me, want to introduce you guys to Victoria, and if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all these good things.
Those are a lot of broad questions, and I will do my best to keep me on topic. Okay, Noel? I live in Toronto, but I've been living around the United States actually for the last 10 years. I went to school and got my Bachelor of Music in Cleveland, Ohio. So I was there for actually 4 years. Before that, I was in Traverse City, Michigan, at a private boarding arts school where I studied theater. And then after I got my Bachelor of Music in Ohio, I moved to New York City because I had the intention of being a Broadway star. And I was doing really well. I had signed with an agent in the city. I moved to New York. I was living in an amazing apartment. And within probably about 5-6 months, I actually booked a job to work for Disney Cruise Line to portray some of their classic Disney princesses. So I had been portraying some of their classic princesses on the ship in the shows. So I portrayed Elsa. You know who Elsa is? Hopefully you know who Elsa is.
I know who she is. The blonde.
Come on. I've also portrayed Belle, and I've also portrayed Mary Poppins. So I did that over actually the span of the last 2 years. And what kind of led me to my energy healing work was a combination of relationships during that time of me being a performer that were rooted in a lot of abandonment wounds. When you're dating people, we don't realize that they're actually mirroring to us some of the shadow aspects that require tending to. And a lot of my big wounds were rooted around a childhood of, first, a lot of pressures of self-image. I've been performing since I was 7 years old. So being in competition since I was 7 really taught me that I was kind of either first or nothing. And then I had a lot of my parents attempting to figure out their relationships through divorce as a child as well. The combination of that kind of manifested in my relationships all throughout my performing experience, all through my experience with Disney, and then it really kind of got hit with what most people have as an aha moment, which was when I had been dating someone while I was living on the Disney ship, who I had known had been unfaithful the entire time. And I had stayed with him for that entire year because I had absolutely no self-worth. And it took him to leave me for the universe to be like, do you get it? You know? The story that hit me was that I was the common denominator in all of my experiences in my relationships. And ultimately, it was up to me to do the work. And they were only reflections of me. So if I wanted to change, if I wanted to change in the outcome of partners, I needed to change myself. So as most people, breakdown then the breakthrough, right? So this started this journey of me starting to ask, what are all these belief systems I have about money that continue to keep me in this perpetual cycle of suffering? What are these belief systems I have about relationships that keep me in this perpetual cycle of partners who can't show up for me because I don't know how to show up for me? So it started with a meditation practice, just as everybody first does, where they have all this resistance, right? They're like, I can't stop thinking, not knowing that that's really completely natural. And from that consistency, almost within weeks, started to birth this new perspective. And since then, since I really began meditating daily and dedicating to my practice, I've been opening up to a world of spirit and communication with them and assisting my family through what I've learned about my spiritual journey and inspiring them, to not have to carry any more ancestral pain and trauma that was bestowed upon me that I chose to alchemize and heal. And now I am in definitely still the discovery stage, but extremely strong in it, doing energy healing work, using my mediumship abilities in a way that now I'm not afraid of, but actually embracing. And I've kind of put my Disney princess to the side for a little bit, and now using all that I've gained as a storyteller to tell a new story.
I love where this conversation is starting off. And so one thing before I go too far, because I think we're good on your sound is going to be awesome. My sound that's coming out of your phone, is it loud, or is it too close to the microphone or anything like that? Just to double check. I think we're good.
It's okay with me.
Okay, awesome. I think we're good. Because I could always tell if I'm speaking. Yeah. So do me a favor, and your microphone, because I could tell because you're looking into your phone. So that's right in front of you. So that means it's probably like that far away from your mic. Yeah. From how you should.
Yeah.
Move your phone further away from your mic, and then also only have me loud enough to where you can hear it, like just enough, if that makes sense. And then if you have to look into your computer as far as the visual, that's cool too. I'm gonna look at you wherever you're looking at me.
How's that?
Yeah, you're good. And there's no echoes or anything, but I can tell on Zoom, like you'll notice when, like if I'm speaking and then the little, you see how it's like highlighted around me right now, the little gold thing?
Yeah.
If that switches to you while I'm speaking, then that means that it's picking up the sound from your mic, which it's not right now, which is awesome. So I think we're perfect right now. So let me move on to the inspiring things that you just shared that I love. And this is why I love these conversations, Victoria, because I never know which direction they're going to go. And I love how you started off sharing as far as the relationships that we have being mirrors for us and allowing us to work through some shadow stuff. And you just made me think of, both of my longest relationships in my life, were so needed because of the shadows for me. And like I attracted these like sweet human beings, like loving human beings. That's who I truly am, and who all of us truly are. And at the same time, in those phases of my life, I was so externally focused as far as I'll be happy when, and not really focusing on my internal energy at all. So you would have described me, believe it or not, nobody believes this about me now, but you would have described me as like a moody person. Or some days I'd be like, you just wouldn't want to be around me. Like, damn, what's wrong with you? And so like to have your relationship describe you as like sometimes having to walk on eggshells around you is like, oh, that's not a great way to be described. Nobody wants that. So it was mirrors, like for me, like being able to see like the sweetness and the coolness of who they were. And I knew that was me, and it made me to where I was like, I really want to change this part of me that is like just could be upset and like just irritated and just like a jerk for no reason, just because of focusing on the external. So I love like what you describe, and it's that gives us, if we can do what Victoria just described as far as taking full responsibility for, we are the common denominator in our relationships for sure. And at the same time, they all are serving us. They can teach us things if we're paying attention to it. And we're not in like I've never been a blamer. I've never been like, you're the reason why. I've never been that dude. Like that's never been my flow, because that just seems I just don't go that route. Like I'm always going to take responsibility for what's going on with me, even though I'm in a crap mood. I'm not going to say I'm in a crap mood because of you. Like I know I knew that was never the reason. So it's just really cool what you described, and how it's taken you to the journey now, which is also a great reminder for all of us of the contrasting and challenging parts of our life. Even during them, they're going to be most likely very challenging and contrasting. However, what has led to today for you is now you're on this journey and this path of helping other people. Do you work with a lot of people when it comes to relationships? Has that been like a big common theme coming up for you? I can see you're passionate about it.
I get it a lot. I do. But not nearly as much considering what's happening in the world right now. I think a lot of the barriers that people are working on right now are a lot of financial, right? We're working through a lot of blocks between where we really want to be in our careers and then all of the things that are kind of impeding us from that. That's what I'm noticing a little bit more. But relationships are huge because we have to look for something outside of ourselves to fulfill something that really ultimately starts from within. So I would say in my own personal experience, the greatest lessons I've learned have been through my relationships, but predominantly any of the clients I'm really calling in are a lot having to do with money blocks.
Okay. I could definitely see that. That's been a lot of things are evolving with the way that people are thinking about like how they're creating their income and their financial abundance right now. And I think it's awesome because I know for me, like I always thought that from the time I was a kid to the time I was like early 20s, like 20, 21, I thought I was going to play a professional athlete, professional baseball player was always the path that I was on. And I just knew how a lot of that like external focus, as far as what I described a second ago, is not feeling good, I'll be happy when, stemmed from when I didn't make it and that I hurt myself and I couldn't play anymore. It was about like wanting to get some type of fulfillment in my work, because it was just like I never thought about doing anything else other than like playing a sport. So I definitely know there's so many humans on Earth that right now or in the past have gone to spend many hours a week, like the majority of their hours, like sometimes more than they're sleeping, to go to a place and do something with their time that if that abundance was flowing in, they would in a second say, I'm not going to this place anymore. And
100%.
yeah, so I know that as human beings, like there's better way for us to be able to spend our time. None of us came down here to inhabit these avatars to spend, the majority of our week doing things that we are not inspired to do. That's not what we came here for. So
Yeah. And, kind of piggybacking off what you're saying, I mean, that's really what's happening on a collective level right now in the world is we're all waking up to the fact that we are in these body avatars. Like, we are essentially a conduit. Like, we are light beings who just have this meat suit on, right? And the more that we can surrender to all of the things that kind of keep us dense energetically, storylines that are not ours, the more that we surrender to that, the more the money just naturally in, because you're raising your consciousness into a frequency that surpasses what the 3D world thinks of money. So what I mean by that is abundance on the 3D world is having money, right? Well, I got money, so I can do whatever I want, right? When you raise your consciousness by releasing the stories and living more in love than you do in fear, money is inevitable. Abundance shifts in the state of flow where it just kind of comes into your life without you really having to lift a finger. So, kind of piggybacking off what you're saying, it's really the art of surrendering more, and then in doing so, it welcomes in more than you could have ever imagined in your mind. And like you were saying, you thought all your life that you were going to be playing sports. Yeah, exactly. You thought in your mind, you created a storyline so perfect that it had to be. And then when you had an expectation hangover, when things didn't work out, it kind of put you on that ground level, which then makes you have to look up and say, how do I get out of here? And the choice always ends up being you, right?
Absolutely. 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 It really took, like, and this is what I want for everybody. The reason why I do what I do, Victoria, is it really took rediscovering who we all truly are. And that this meat suit, as you called it, physical avatar, it's just housing the energy that all of us truly are. That everything that we see in this physical world truly is. And we can call that God force energy, divine energy, source energy, love energy, nature energy. Like, we call it whatever we want to call it. That's who we all truly are. And when we discover that or rediscover it, because we all knew it when we came here as little unconditional loving little babies, and for most of us forgot along the way, and then we get to remember. And once we do that, then it becomes about, well, am I being that? Am I embodying that in this moment, which is all that exists for any of us? And when we realize that life can be as simple or as complex as that, as what version am I bringing to this moment of life, which is all I can control and all that truly exists. And then, like Victoria said, then the abundance, and whenever I say abundance, I mean more than enough of everything: financial, time, relationships, health, whatever matters to you, having more than enough of it. When we're being who we truly are, then that is going to be a natural byproduct. But when we're being the lack version of ourselves, or the worry version of ourselves, or the fearful version of ourselves, not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's going to reflect out, the opposite of abundance, which is lack. So it's just good to be aware, and then to just be able to just pay attention to what version of ourselves we're bringing to now, and then watch for the evidence from there. Without I love what you said, the expectation hangover. I had that for years, not just like a couple days. Like, this was like from 21, 22, 23, and until I discovered who I truly was, rediscovered at like 25 and a half, 26. So it was years of this. So I love what you're saying. I've never heard that before. Expectation hangover. I like that.
Yeah, I can't take full credit for it. Christine Hassler actually taught me that. When I was first starting my journey, she has a book called Expectation Hangover. And I was like, that is a perfect way to explain it, because it feels over. It really does. It feels like the worst hangover that you have ever had, right? Because you can convince yourself in your mind so much so. Like, I was said that I was going to be a Broadway star. There was no other option. And all of the expectations and the ways in which I was going to help save my family through what I was going to accomplish was so deeply ingrained that when it didn't work out, and I'm home, because essentially what had ended up was my relationship ran out at the same time my visa to stay in the United States ran out. The universe was like, hard stop. Like, this is it, When I came home, it was like so interesting. Once I just surrendered this idea in my mind of what, being in New York City was going to provide for me, that feeling of having to move home to Canada and start in Toronto was the exact feeling I had been hoping for New York would have brought me. So it was really just the divine surrender. Like, I became a star in my own life when I surrendered to something that clearly wasn't working. And I also want to touch on what you said about, kind of coming home to the truth of who we are. I babysit these two children who are 7 years old, and they are still very aware of who they are. Have stuffed animals that they communicate with. They've got beings and friends that are around all the time. One day, I asked, her name is Grace, I said, Grace, tell me about this imaginary world. She goes, well, do you want to come to the imaginary world? And I said, well, heck yeah. She grabbed my hand. Seriously, Noelle, she put me behind like this little bush that they have in their house. Like, it's just like this little plant. She puts me beside the bush. She goes, poof. She opens her eyes. She goes, okay, you're here. And I go, okay. She goes, now you can do anything you want in the world. Anything. And I said to her, how did you find the imaginary world? She goes, well, one day I meditated.
Wow.
And I just closed my eyes like this. Swear to God. She goes, I just closed my eyes like this. And then I entered the world. I just entered this world. And I said, interesting. She goes, well, now I can just go there anytime I want. And I said, interesting. That she is at that age and she hasn't had that magic taken from her yet. We have to instill in our children to never lose that magic. And like, to be honest, that's kind of why Disney worked so well with me, because that is Walt Disney. Keeping the magic alive, keeping the belief alive is really what we lose as we get older. And that's why we spend, from the age of 16 to 65 in jobs we fucking hate, because we don't realize the power that we actually have to create anything and everything we desire. So.
I love that example, and this. So you inspired me a lot. I've had the smile big as can be. If you guys are listening to this, you can't see it on iTunes and Spotify when this comes out. However, Victoria, this is why So I'm not a parent, so what I'm going to say may or may not have a lot of weight with you. However, I understand like these little ones very, very well. As far as this is how we come here, unconditional loving little babies, and a lot of times it's the adults that think that they know what's best for the kids, and so no, stop running around, sit down, stop having so much fun, stop making so much noise, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, I thought it was, I'm just like, I'm being who I truly am. I thought I was enjoying my life, and you're telling me like this is not okay. Like, so that causes confusion. If I choose to have kids one day, I tell people that all I will be responsible for is making sure you don't go play in traffic, because we don't need to like learn this lesson like the hard way. Like this is not a lesson that I want you to evolve on your own. Pretty much everything else, like I'm gonna be okay with just seeing how you want to evolve, because I'm gonna learn just as much. You're gonna remind me of just as much as I could ever remind you. Now I'm consciously living my life in a way to where I'm connected. So I know what you know as a little unconditional loving baby as well. So we can both be mirrors for each other and, enjoy that and just see how you choose to evolve. But that's awesome. Wait, she used the exact words meditation coming out of her mouth?
I actually have pictures of her where I'll be saying to her, do you want to meditate? She goes, yeah, sure. And she sits completely upright. Like the 7-year-old just closes her eyes and is in a whole new world. Now the other is a little boy, and he's all masculine, right? Like if you give him a fork, if he just wants to build forks,